Hello YouTube, have to apologize, I haven't been keeping regular updates on the channel as we've been traveling for medical stuff down to Dallas, Texas repeatedly over the course of the past 6 weeks or so. So it's been one of those things, just haven't had time to do very much. Apologize for that, but real life takes precedence. With hopefully those trips behind us now for the foreseeable future, get back to doing what's really important, like creating YouTube videos. Not really, but at any rate, Frontier a couple of weeks ago released this post about 2.4 and beyond, which we now know is retitled The Return. So they said on the beyond part, this is what really struck me, is that our awesome dev team are dedicated to continuing to build and improve the Elite Dangerous experience with exciting long-term vision in mind. We are happy to be able to confirm that the next major updates following 2.4 will focus on core gameplay, existing features, quality of life, and other improvements. We're delighted to be investing a considerable amount of development and effort into making the core gameplay experience even better for our fantastic community or players. I think they mean of players there, but this is the part that really kind of struck me the most. To me, this is nothing more than a simple acknowledgement of message received from those of us in the community that have been rather critical of the lack of development in terms of core gameplay mechanics by Frontier Developments. Nothing more, nothing really less. Since this message went out, a lot of people I think were expecting a little bit more to be revealed at E3. I personally wasn't one of them. I felt that with the impending PlayStation 4 release, they weren't really going to do much at E3, except for promoting the PlayStation 4 release of the game, and that more information about what's to come as far as core gameplay mechanics being overhauled and fleshed out and expanded upon, hopefully, would likely not come until Gamescom, which is usually their major presentation and conference, usually in the middle end of August this year. So that's what I'm not really expecting to hear, or wasn't really expecting to hear much more than what we got. Then that brings us to this week in E3. Now, to be honest with you, at this point, I haven't had a chance to sit down and actually watch the live streams. All I've gotten is basically snippets and the TLDR from Reddit, essentially, of what was contained within those two live streams. One of them, the first one, included a 24-hour community goal that was real divisive amongst the community, and I can see the reasons for that, between the fact that it was essentially almost completed by the time that many people in the U.S., especially U.S. West Coast, got home and off work. The other part of it is that it relied on basically how good you are with RNG Jesus in terms of getting hyperdicted in order to even collect the data in the first place. To give you an example, even if I had been at home and capable of engaging in this community goal, I've never been hyperdicted. Granted, I've never gone out looking for a hyper-addiction, but I figured sooner or later it would happen to me. Hasn't yet, but we'll see if it does in the impending future with the return. But apparently that was to unlock some information to be given out the next day. Look, I understand what Frontier and Ed and all of them were trying to do with this interactive live stream community goal thing, and I'll give them points for trying. Again, whenever they've tried these events in the past, whether it was with the unveiling of the alien ruins, despite the fact that how that should have been done is with those alien ruins being popped up when you did an advanced discovery scan saying, hey, there's something on planet A7 over here, and then requiring a detailed surface scanner to scan A7 when you got close enough, and saying, hey, there's signals coming from over here. And then maybe as you go down, like it is with the data scanning missions now, you have to fly around a bit to zero in on it, and that's how you could find alien ruins, instead of the, oh, hey, nobody has found these because you had to use your Mark 1 eyeball and basically go scouring planets visually through their entire surfaces in order to find them prior to that point. It wasn't until they introduced it, they're like, well, we got to give you these series of puzzles and clues. And the big reveal the next day was, and I guess you could say, phonetic alphabet, maybe Morse code. I don't really know which it was. But the Thargoids return. So yes, these clever ships that look like the Galnet logo and some other mystery hints and stuff are indeed the Thargoids. Get your industrial strength raid. Get Terminex on speed dial. The galaxy is going to need them. And that was pretty much it. That it would come sometime starting in Q3 of this year, which is kind of interesting because also during the Beyond announcement, they said that 2.4 will not be a single contained release date. Instead, it will be multiple releases, basically smaller chunks over a greater period of time, starting sometime in Q3, which sounds like a long time away, but Q3 technically starts for most of the corporate world on July 1st. So anytime after July, I really don't expect them to do much until, again, Gamescom. I think that's always been their big presentation every year, and I suspect that we'll start to see 2.4 content roll out in September, whether it's going to be early September or late September. I'm not exactly sure. The reason for this is twofold. The other one is, with the PlayStation 4 people just getting into the game, you got to give them a few weeks to get their bearings, get their ships built up, maybe unlock a few engineers, and maybe get to the point to where, you know, they just don't get mass slaughtered by the incoming Thargoid invasion. So it's one of those things that's probably also built into there as well. Plus, the narrative trickles out at a very slow pace, and I think even speeding it up to where more content's unlocked every couple of weeks, it's still going to be relatively slow-paced. Faster paced than previous, but slow-paced compared to what many other people kind of expect. But it seems to also be that this may be a test run for how they plan to deliver content basically beyond 2.4 with the abandoning of the seasons model. Then we have 2.3.1, which I'm actually downloading in the background right now, so I can actually try that out. But a couple of exciting changes here come from the fact that it is a purely open beta for anyone who has purchased the game on PC, and to a certain extent Mac, although Mac users are limited to 1.8, not the 2.3.1 open beta. So that's one of those things that I'm glad to see. There's no paywall. There's no, you had to be a beta or premium beta backer. They wanted everybody there because they wanted to test networking and networking physics with objects around on the ground. You could reset your save. You could get the decal for participating in the community goal as part of this. And all of it is absolutely wonderful. I have absolutely no problems with this open beta. And this is how it should be. It should be open to everyone in order to get as many people participating. Now, the trick yet to remain to be seen is, okay, if these things are reported, if bugs are reported, are you just going to ignore them on the forums, or are you actually going to take a step back and try to address them before you patch it or push it to live, which they kind of have a hard push date. I'm sure that things have to be approved by, or sent to Microsoft for approval, and I guess Sony as well, probably about, Saturday, giving them 10 days essentially to get it through their approval processes for the various consoles. But there is kind of a hard release date of that June 27th when the game comes out on PlayStation 4. And the fact that we're getting a decal reward for this and things like that, I think they're starting to figure out some lessons learned in terms of charging for cosmetics is fine. However, if every once in a while, for participating in an event, whether it's a community goal or something else significant in-game, giving out a free decal, giving out maybe even a free ship skin for a certain ship or something, because maybe you have certain events that at some point maybe become ship limited to, say, a Diamondback Explorer or something above or beyond a certain size of ship or something like that. Gated events, essentially. And then giving out, if you've placed in the top 50% or top 25%, maybe there's 5 different skins out there, and you get to unlock one at, at each tier that you or wherever you finish. If you're in the top 10 commanders, you get a special skin for participating in that event. Stuff like that. If you can throw your audience and your consumer base a bone every once in a while, it encourages participation. And I don't mind that in order to get these unlocks, these ship skins or decals, or decals, I guess, as some of the folks across the pond like to say, fine. You don't participate, you don't get it, your loss, essentially. But a reward for participating like that, I think that would go a long ways towards easing things, I think, with a lot of the community. It would buy Frontier, I think, a lot more goodwill. And again, you got to throw your customer base a bone every once in a while. And they're starting to trend a little bit towards this. And again, my kind of demarcation point of whether or not Frontier has failed or been successful with Elite Dangerous to me always comes at that 3-year mark. And I'm going to give them until the end of this year to show that they can start firing on all cylinders again instead of constant misfires that we've seen throughout Season 2. Now, there is a little bit, though, that has me slightly concerned. Now, what little information that I've gleaned, again, not having watched the live streams in their entirety, is that the 2.4 season will also include new weapons, mods, and things of that nature that we'll be able to add to equipment, maybe modules, to deal with the Thargoid threat. You know, cans of raid, raid cannons, maybe Terminex shields, and Ortho home defense armor to protect against the coming Thargoid threat. I have this sneaking feeling that what we're going to see is a series of community goals. And these community goals will be probably like that 24-hour flash event. Maybe that was kind of a test dry run for this, where if the community collects the gear and all of that good stuff, and it will unlock, say, raid cannon-based Thargoid weapons or something. Then you got to go out, collect the materials, go to the engineer, right, whether it's Ram, Taw, this other guy, or whatever, pull the RNG slot machine lever, which there's been some controversy about that I may address in another video. It may be kind of being a dead horse at this point, but at any rate, pull the slot machine handle, that is the engineers, and see what you get. And then the next week, it'll be, say the first week's weapons, the next week is for Terminex shields, and the third week is for ortho-protected armor. Just putting it out there as examples. And maybe it'll mitigate against their ability to shut down our ships and what have you. I have a feeling that that's going to be how these things unfold. I'm not sure how exciting that's really going to be to a lot of people. I know I'm kind of, okay. But at the same time, I think they're still kind of facing up to the fact they have limited options with the mechanics that they've developed at present, and they may just kind of be stuck on this course because they don't have any other options. Don't know, but that's kind of how I'm seeing this start to play out. Well, that's going to be it for this video. Be sure to tell me in the comments section how I'm wrong about everything, and at the same time, if you liked what I had to say, be sure to like, subscribe, comment in the section down below anyway, and say I approve. Until next time, hopefully have some more regularly updated content now that we're not going to Dallas all the time. Until next time, see you later.